The galaxy was a place of unparalleled harmony, a vast network of advanced civilizations bound together by the Treaty of Eterna, a pact forged to end interstellar warfare. Millennia of cooperation had erased the scars of ancient conflicts, leaving a community that celebrated progress and unity above all else. Each species brought their strengths to the collective table. The Aelith, masters of diplomacy, the Vorath, with their unparalleled engineering, and the serene Lemurians, whose wisdom spanned eons. Among them, humanity was the anomaly, a late arrival to the stars, their inclusion seen as both a curiosity and a calculated risk. To the Coalition, humanity was primitive, a species that had risen too quickly from the ashes of their self-inflicted wars. Tales of Earth's brutal history were whispered in galactic chambers. The world wars, the nuclear brinkmanship, and the catastrophic last war that nearly ended their civilization. Despite their achievements in science and exploration, the Coalition viewed humans as unpredictable, a volatile element in an otherwise stable equation. They were pitted more than respected, their violent past dismissed as a relic of an unenlightened era. But humanity's scars had taught them lessons the Coalition could scarcely comprehend. While others saw peace as an inherent state of existence, humanity understood it as something fragile, earned through vigilance and sacrifice. This mindset put them at odds with the Coalition's doctrine, which regarded war as an outdated concept. When humanity warned of the dangers of complacency, their words were met with polite indifference. Tensions began to ripple through the Coalition when the Xhar Dominion, a militant outlier species, tested the boundaries of the Treaty of Eterna. The Xhar were ambitious and cunning, their fleet of bioengineered warships unlike anything the Coalition had faced in centuries. They made small, calculated incursions into Coalition territory, minor skirmishes that were dismissed as posturing. Diplomats assured one another that the Xhar would fall in line, as all aggressors eventually did. Humanity saw the pattern immediately. They recognized the Xhar's probing attacks for what they were, precursors to full-scale war. In emergency summits, human representatives urged the Coalition to take the threat seriously, to prepare for the possibility that diplomacy might fail. Their pleas fell on deaf ears. The Coalition had grown complacent in their peace, secure in the belief that their collective strength and moral superiority would deter any aggressor. The humans, by contrast, spoke from the bitter experience of survival. A human ambassador, her voice steady but laced with urgency, warned, "We've seen this before. It starts small, testing the waters, exploiting weaknesses. If you wait too long, the cost of action will be far greater than the price of preparation." Still, the Coalition dismissed these warnings as fearmongering. The Lemurian Chancellor, a being of great renown, responded with a calm smile, "War is a shadow of the past. The Xhar will see reason in time." Humanity remained unconvinced, their leaders retreating to Earth with grim expressions. The galaxy believed it had outgrown the need for war. Humanity knew better. The Xhar Dominion made their move with ruthless precision. A surprise assault on the neutral planet of Serenai shattered the illusion of galactic peace. Once a beacon of Coalition unity, Serenai was left in ruins within hours. The Xhar's bioengineered ships descended like locusts, consuming everything in their path. Coalition forces arrived too late, offering only futile resistance as the Xhar retreated with their prize, an entire planet's worth of resources and a chilling message: no one was untouchable. The Coalition scrambled to respond, convening emergency sessions to discuss their options. Diplomats debated endlessly, clinging to the hope that negotiation could still prevail. The destruction of Serenai was dismissed as a regrettable misstep, a misunderstanding that could be rectified through dialogue. The human representatives, however, were less optimistic. They argued that the Xhar's aggression was not a mistake but a calculated act of war. In one heated session, a human ambassador rose to speak. "We have seen this pattern before. On our world, we called it appeasement. Every step back emboldens the aggressor. Serenai was a warning shot. If you do not act now, they will strike again, and it will be worse." The Coalition leaders were unmoved. To them, humanity's perspective was too steeped in its violent past to be trusted. One delegate even sneered, "Your kind sees war in every shadow. Perhaps it's because you've never known true peace." Humanity's warnings were dismissed as paranoia, and their requests for preemptive action were overruled. Then the Xhar escalated further. They struck another Coalition world, this time targeting a key supply hub. Once again, they moved swiftly, overwhelming the planet's defenses and leaving devastation in their wake. The coalition's response was sluggish and ineffective, hampered by bureaucracy and their unwillingness to recognize the reality of the situation. The Xhar began to spread fear throughout the galaxy, their audacity growing with each unchecked attack. In the midst of this chaos, humanity's frustration reached its breaking point. The human delegation issued a stark declaration: "If you will not defend yourselves, we will defend ourselves. Earth will not wait for the Xhar to come knocking." The statement was met with disdain and accusations of arrogance. But humanity did not flinch. The breaking point came when the Xhar, emboldened by the coalition's inaction, turned their sights on Earth. A massive fleet entered the Sol system, their intentions clear: humanity was to be made an example. Coalition forces were too far away to respond in time, leaving Earth to face the threat alone. For the first time, the galaxy would see what humanity had kept hidden. As the Xhar fleet approached, Earth's leaders activated a protocol that had remained dormant since the last war. It was not a call to arms, but a resurrection of something ancient and terrible, a reminder of the lengths humanity would go to when their survival was at stake. The coalition watched from afar, expecting a massacre. What they witnessed would redefine their understanding of humanity forever. The Xhar fleet entered the Sol system with unwavering confidence. Their bioengineered warships, massive and grotesque, blotted out the stars as they advanced toward Earth. They had analyzed humanity's technology and found it unimpressive, barely a threat compared to the galactic standard. To them, this was a show of dominance, a declaration to the galaxy that even the so-called violent humans could be subdued with ease. But as they approached, they began to encounter resistance that didn't fit their calculations. Their scouts vanished without a trace, their transmissions silenced mid-report. Probes sent to gather data were intercepted and destroyed, their remains never recovered. The Xhar commanders grew uneasy but pressed forward, determined to complete their mission. Then the human defenses revealed themselves. Massive orbital platforms powered by energy weapons of devastating intensity came online, targeting the Xhar fleet with uncanny precision. Each shot was a surgical strike, obliterating the lead ships in seconds. The Xhar retaliated, but their firepower was intercepted by Earth's planetary shields, a technology they hadn't anticipated. The shields weren't just defensive, they absorbed and redirected the energy, using it to fuel Earth's counterattacks. As the Xhar fleet struggled to regroup, a new threat emerged. From hidden facilities on the Moon and Mars, swarms of autonomous drones were launched, their sleek, black forms slicing through the void like predatory birds. These weren't ordinary drones, they were remnants of humanity's last war, weapons designed with ruthless efficiency and adaptability. They targeted the Xhar's bioengineered ships, exploiting vulnerabilities with terrifying precision. Within minutes, entire segments of the Xhar fleet were reduced to debris. The Xhar commanders, for the first time, realized their mistake. They had assumed humanity was weak, that their violent history was a sign of backwardness. They hadn't considered that such a history had made humanity masters of war. And then, humanity escalated further. From deep within the Earth, weapons that hadn't seen the light of day for centuries were activated. Orbital platforms unleashed EMP bursts, disabling Xhar systems and leaving their ships adrift. Experimental railguns, built during humanity's darkest days, fired projectiles at near-light speeds, ripping through the Xhar's strongest vessels like paper. Even the Xhar's bioengineered defenses, designed to adapt to most attacks, were overwhelmed by the sheer variety and ferocity of humanity's arsenal. But what truly broke the Xhar was humanity's psychological warfare. Broadcasts in their language filled the void of space, reminding them of every failure, every miscalculation. The messages weren't taunting, they were cold, factual, and unrelenting. Humanity wasn't fighting just to survive, they were teaching a lesson. By the time the Xhar attempted to retreat, it was too late. Their fleet was in shambles, their command structure obliterated. The remnants of their ships limped back into hyperspace, carrying with them the harrowing knowledge that they had underestimated the wrong species. The coalition, watching from a distance, was silent. What they had just witnessed wasn't a battle, it was an annihilation. Humanity had shown the galaxy that while they desired peace, they were unmatched when provoked. And for the first time, the galaxy understood the true cost of testing humanity. The aftermath of the battle rippled across the galaxy. News of the Xhar fleet's utter defeat spread with the speed of fear, reaching even the furthest corners of the coalition. The once proud Xhar Dominion, previously an unstoppable force, had been reduced to a shadow of its former self. For the first time in centuries, the galaxy was forced to confront a truth it had long ignored. Peace was not a given, it was something that required strength to maintain. The coalition convened an emergency summit, their unity fractured and their confidence shaken. Delegates who had once dismissed humanity now struggled to find the words to describe what they had witnessed. Many called for sanctions against Earth, arguing that the level of destruction humanity had unleashed was beyond acceptable, even in self-defense. Others, however, were more pragmatic, acknowledging that without humanity's actions, the Xhar might have continued their conquest unchecked. At the center of it all stood the human delegation. Their presence, once overlooked and underestimated, now commanded a weight that silenced even the most vocal critics. The human ambassador, calm and resolute, addressed the assembly with a tone that was neither boastful nor apologetic. "We did not ask for this war," she began, her voice steady. "We warned you of its inevitability. We offered our counsel, we asked for unity, and we were ignored. When the Xhar came for us, we did what we had to do, not just for our survival, but for yours as well." She paused, letting the words settle over the room. "You call us violent, and you are not wrong. Our history is one of conflict, of mistakes, of learning through pain. But that history has also taught us to value peace, because we know what it costs to achieve it. And we know what it takes to defend it." Some delegates murmured in agreement, while others remained silent, their expressions unreadable. The ambassador continued, her gaze sweeping across the room. "The weapons we used were remnants of a past we hoped never to revisit. We do not wield them lightly. But let this be clear, when pushed to the brink, humanity will not hesitate to fight. We will not stand idle while threats grow unchecked. The Xhar made their choice, and they paid the price. Let that be a lesson to any who would follow their path." The silence that followed was palpable. No one dared challenge her words. Even the most skeptical species could not deny the evidence of what humanity had accomplished. The Xhar's defeat was total, and the coalition's survival had come at the hands of those they had dismissed as relics of a violent past. In the days that followed, amendments to the Treaty of Eterna were proposed. Humanity insisted on provisions for decisive action against future aggressors, measures to prevent the kind of complacency that had allowed the Xhar to rise unchecked. Reluctantly, the coalition agreed, understanding that the galaxy could no longer afford to ignore humanity's perspective. As the summit concluded, the human ambassador offered one final statement, her words echoing through the chamber and beyond. "Peace is not a gift. It is a responsibility. We will defend it, no matter the cost. But do not make us teach this lesson again." The coalition left that day forever changed, their perception of humanity transformed. Earth had proven itself not just as a member of the galactic community, but as its protector, a role it had earned through fire and sacrifice. And in the quiet that followed, the galaxy resolved to never test humanity's resolve again.